Hi everyone, I'm Lisa with Down to Earth Gardening and Design, and today I am out in the vegetable garden. It's the end of the season, it's fall, so it's time to wrap things up out here. So I'm doing a little bit of cleanup and harvesting whatever's left to be harvested here. So I just wanted to show you what I really liked that I did in the vegetable garden this year. So in other words, what really worked for me, and I'll probably throw in a couple of things that didn't work for me, because I do like to share with you what works and doesn't, and hopefully it'll help you out at home. So I always like to start with letting you know that I'm in zone 6A. So when you see some of the things that I've planted, just remember that's the zone I'm in, and of course always check out your zone. It's really great to be familiar with that. But first and foremost, in my vegetable garden, you will see that the area that we have our vegetable garden is not very conventional. And the reason for that is that I originally had this as an ornamental garden. It leads up to the patio where we spend a lot of our time. But I realized that this is where we spend most of our time in the yard. So I thought it would be really nice to have the vegetable garden close so I could keep an eye on it, and then I could go around, I could poke around a little bit every day, because this truly is what I love to do when I'm working or not working. So we have converted this. It's been about 3 or 4 years now since there was flowers and shrubs in here. You'll still find a smattering of some flowers and shrubs in here, which I've slowly been moving. But honestly, I like leaving some of them because I find that they're really great pollinators for my vegetable garden. So, and I do have some edible flowers in here as well. So as you look around, you'll kind of see maybe an odd mix, an unconventional mix of things in the garden. So the very first thing with vegetable gardening is, of course, your soil. So I really work at having the best soil possible for this garden, because I use integrated pest management, and number one in preventing any kind of pests or diseases is really great soil. So that's number one. And how I do that is I do make my own compost here, and I will have a future video on that for you. So every spring or whenever I have a batch, I really just incorporate that into the mix here. And number two is that I love to use mulch. So you can use straw, however I use a fine ground bark mulch with no dye, so all natural. And so you will see that here and there. And the reason for that is it really helps control the weeds, it really helps with the watering, it retains the moisture, and I do feel that as it gets turned under, it breaks down and it adds to the soil texture. So I just want to show you what the soil looks like here. It's pretty rich and it has a pretty nice texture. So that's what it looks like. And of course I love it when I see worms out here. You want to see a lot of worm action in your garden. So paying attention to my soil and amending it with compost that I've made and mulching is probably the best thing that I've done here for my vegetable garden. So the second thing that I really like that I did this year is I planted some purple vegetables, which are really high in antioxidants. It's not just because I love purple, and I know you guys know that about me, I'm always telling you. But I've already harvested my purple beans, so my string beans, and I do have a clip of those because those are a lot of fun. When you pick them, they're purple, but then when you steam them or cook them, they turn green, so it's fun for the kids too. But what I have here is a carrot that's called Purple Dragon. So you get to see how beautiful these carrots are. Love them. So we're gonna have some of these tonight. We'll be harvesting these really up to Thanksgiving here. I love to cook these, roast them with the turkey, and have the fresh carrots from our garden with our turkey. So my purple vegetables, that was purple dragon, and my purple beans, that was another big win for me, not just because I love purple. And the next thing, the third thing that really worked for me this year is really trying to do more succession plantings. So I like to make the most of this space because it's not very big. So again, it's not conventional. You'll see that I have, some odd arrangements for plantings, but that's because I really kind of do more of a square foot gardening, and I have a small space. I want to pack as much in here as possible. So succession plantings are really important. And you'll notice that I've got some pole beans here growing on these vertical trellises. Love the vertical trellises because it gives me more space in the garden. And I did a succession planting with those because I had my peas on the trellises up until early July, and then when they really faded out, I started the beans. The beans love it when it's hot, so they really took right off, and we just stopped harvesting them. We actually couldn't keep up with them. So I did also do the succession plantings with my carrots, and so what that will do is, once you harvest something, if you go and plant something else, you're making great use of your space there, but that's going to ensure you that you're going to get fresh vegetables, from spring all the way to fall in my zone here. So succession planting is probably the number 3 great thing I did here. Number 4 is you're going to see a little patch of Swiss chard. So I love my bright light Swiss chard. I love that you get to have the mixed colors with your meal. And the Swiss chard, to be honest with you, I planted this in the spring, and then I did do a scattering of seeds in between. But when you harvest it, you're just going to cut it back and it's going to grow again. So you're really getting bang for your buck with the Swiss chard. But because we had a drought and we really weren't watering, we were really afraid to use a lot of water here, they kind of petered out. They do like it. They favor the cooler weather. But what I did was I came out about 4 weeks ago, and all the leaves that were looking ratty that I didn't want to eat, we weren't going to harvest, I just cut them right down to the ground. And look, I have another, I think I could probably get another 3 meals out of what's there. So for me, that's a big win. So that's my number 4 favorite thing that I did in the garden this year. Number 5 is I do like to try new things every year and experiment, and I do like to plant most of my stuff direct sow. So that means you get your seeds and you put them right in the ground. And so this year I tried celery. There's so much of it here, I've got to give some away to friends and family. But from seed, this celery grew really well. So you can use this, stir fries, soups. It has a really nice flavor to add to different dishes. So I thought this was a big win. This was literally just 1 packet of celery seed. And then the last, and I hate to say this is the last because there's so many favorite things about gardening here. The last thing that I did in the garden that I'm really loving is I planted edible flowers here, which are my nasturtiums. I love flowers, and I love anything that's edible. So nasturtiums, this here was probably a couple of packets, direct sow. and you can use these in salads and whatnot. I do have a whole video that's dedicated just to the nasturtium because I love them so much. I mean, what's better than a flower that you can eat? So that was my last favorite thing that I did in the vegetable bed this year. Just to give you a couple things that I didn't like that I probably wouldn't do again next year, because I think that's important too. Number one was I just ripped out my cherry tomato plants, and what happened was they reseeded themselves, which was pretty great. However, I wish that when they were little seedlings that I had moved them, because I left them where they landed, and they landed literally right in the front here. And so it's so easy, you know, early summer or late spring to transplant things because it's rainy too, so that really helps things along, gives it an edge. But really you're just scooping it up and you're moving it to a better location. So you're still getting the free plants, but putting them where it works best for you is really important, because what happened here is the sun comes up over here and faces this bed, and they were so tall, which is normal, that they really shaded everything behind it. So things behind it suffered a little bit. I usually do a little bit of squash, and the acorn squash didn't get nearly enough sun, so it really didn't fully mature and develop. So that's probably number one. Number two is that I didn't make enough time to come out and harvest my vegetables, which really makes me sad. But you know, you get so busy with life, and gardening takes a lot of my time and attention, and I didn't come out and harvest things. So I really wish that I had let my neighbors or friends and family know so they could come over and harvest some vegetables from the garden. And an example of that is my pole beans here. We had so many, and now they're really too mature for me to come out here and harvest. They just really wouldn't taste good. So I'm a little sad about that. You know, if I had more time, I would have preserved them, done some canning or some freezing. But I think my backup plan for next year is really when I know that I can't get out there and harvest, I'm really just going to call my neighbors and my friends and family and have them and come enjoy it. Why not? So I hope you enjoyed this video. There is nothing better than knowing where your food comes from, and just the joy that it brings you, you know, to nourish yourself with homegrown vegetables is fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you like the video, tap like and subscribe to our channel for some future gardening fun.